understand how many times I did this recording. I have to keep looking to make sure that it's recording. Yeah, so I'm gonna do this again, but I'm gonna keep making sure that it's recording because I did this 2, 3 times. Started yesterday. Yeah. Okay. So my main objective for this recording is to get you into other different stitches of Tunisian crochet. Yeah, you could go on YouTube, look at other stitches and learn them on your own. Fine. That's fine. Not a problem. The thing about what I am doing is trying to help those, especially those that we did the one-on-one, but everyone, so that you can get an idea of what exactly you need or want for your particular project. Okay, so with this one, what I'm going to do is step by step. So it's going to be this one. I'm going to do recording on regular Tunisian crochet, Purl Tunisian crochet, and the Honeycomb Tunisian crochet. Now, I'm doing that because in order for you to do honeycomb, you need to know how to do the regular simple stitch, the purl, and then you could do the honeycomb. So that's what I'm going to do in this one. And then I'm going to do other recordings. That way you don't have to watch a whole entire long video on a whole bunch of different stitches. You could just use this one if you want to do the honeycomb or the purl. Alright, so majority of all of them starts off like this, which is the foundation. You do your chain, you get your loops, you do your return pass, and you're good. That's how it starts off. I did 10. So for this, you can have any amount of stitches. It does not matter. So I'm going to do one row of TSS, the Tunisian simple stitch. Just one row, just to get you in the mood. Because I know everyone by now should know how to do that one row or more of Tunisian simple stitch. So this is basically Tunisian simple stitch. You're going into each vertical post all the way until you get to the last one. Once you get to the last one, this is called the border stitch. Alright, so you have this border stitch and that border stitch. This is the beginning, this is the end. So for the end border stitch, you just want to make sure that you're going in both. It's going to be 2 stitches that you have to go through. Not 1, but 2. And that will look like a lip. Come on, baby. Come on. Get in there. To get this going, you want to make sure that your stitches are loose. The first one is always the hard one, but make sure you get in there. Alright, so it's going to look like a lip. You're going to go in, pull up a loop, which I'm doing now. Yarn over, pull through that one. Yarn over, pull through 2. So once you pull through that one, that is automatically your border stitch, which is your end chain. And then you're going to yarn over, pull through 2 throughout the rest of the return pass. Alright, so once you get to the beginning again, that first stitch is always going to be right here, which is your beginning, your first border beginning stitch. And that is going to definitely be counted. So this is always counted as 1. I'm going to show you how to do the purl stitch. So the purl stitch is basically the opposite of the Tunisian simple stitch. And to get this going, leave border alone. Do not touch the border. No need for you to even be bothered with the border. All right. So we're going to put this on top of your hook. So your yarn is going to go on top of your hook. You're going to push up your hook, go in to that next vertical post. When you do that, the yarn that's on top of your hook, you're going to go around. You're going to take it around so it could go to the back. Then you're going to take your hook, turn it a little, and meet it. Your hook and your yarn should meet. Grab it. But when you're grabbing it, take your finger and just put it right there just so that it doesn't move. And then that's your purl. Now, the reason why I say put your finger right here, you don't have to, but I do, so that this loop right here, it's a loop that is going to be the focal part of your purl. In order for it to be a purl, this loop has to be here. And you want it to be uniform. You don't want some to be large, some to be small. So the best thing I do is to put my finger there just to make it all the same exact size. Let's try it again. Put your yarn on top of your hook. Push your hook up a little bit. Go into that next vertical post. Take your yarn and go around. When you go around, meet your yarn and your hook. Put your finger there. Turn it and go through that next post. And I always take my finger and go like this because that helps with the tension and it helps make sure that this is good too. So that's all I'm doing. It is going in, but making sure that the yarn is in front and there. Now, as I'm doing this loop pushes up a little bit. Yeah, pushes up a little bit so that all of them can be uniformed. And then I'm going to do it again. And that's basically your purl stitch. Basically doing it the opposite. Because the Tunisian simple stitch, you just go in the post. And when you go in the post, the yarn is in the back. But for purl, it's in the front. You're just basically pulling it up to the front, turning it, bam, there you go. So you're just making sure that this is in the front. And whatever makes you feel comfortable, if what I'm doing is not comfortable to you, make it comfortable. Make it do what it do. I also follow the stitches that are from the bottom. I follow that path because that is going to make me line up my loops so that I know that I'm not missing any loops. And I do that with all stitches, every last one of them, just to make sure that I'm not missing anything. And now we're going to go into the border, the end border, which again, this is what I do just to get it to go in. I put my finger at the back of it, and then I take my hook and I just turn it a little. As I'm turning it a little, it goes in. Yarn over, pull up. And so that you know that you're going into the right space and not the hole in between the two stitches, just make sure that it's like a snug fit. If it goes in real easy, that means you may be in the wrong spot. And then when you go in, it looks like a stitch when you go in. Yarn over, pull up one. Now yarn over, pull through all. Pull through two and continue till you get to the beginning. Now I'm going to do one more row of purl, and then we're going to go into honeycomb. Now the purl, you can do the purl for like contrast if you want to add a little contrast into a certain color on your project, and you want to change it up a little bit. So maybe if you're doing the love with the Africa, do all of the Africa with maybe the purl stitch, or do maybe the each letter, the L and the V and the E, maybe doing each letter and a different stitch. These are the things that you are able to do, especially if you had the one-on-one with me. You understand what I'm talking about. If you did not, maybe and you still want it, contact one of the admins so we could see what you could do to arrange that. I kind of gave up on that part because I've been doing it for 2 weeks just about, and you got to give a little bit more than you want. Even I only gave 10 minutes. Sometimes it was even less for some. So 10 minutes of your time for something that you want to do shouldn't be a lot at all. And those people who told me that, they couldn't go to any of the times that I had, they contacted me and I found a way. So it's no excuses. Team, no excuses. Alright? So this is how it's starting to look. Do you see the little loops? Isn't that pretty? So this is something that you can do just to put a little contrast. Oops, I didn't do that one right. And I could tell because I didn't have that loop in the front. Just a little contrast, just to have something different in what you're doing. And this stitch is just beautiful. Like if you're doing hair, if you're doing one of the Afro ladies and you're doing hair, this would be beautiful. Or a letter or something. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through one. And then we're going to return with yarn over. Now also when I do this, I kind of sort of leave the loop loose. And I hold on to it when I go yarn over and pull through both. I hold on to it so that it doesn't tighten up or be too loose. I'm trying to get it to like a good tension and consistency. So that's why I try to hold on to it. Just control of your hook, just like driving. If you don't drive, I don't know what to tell you. But control of your hook is everything. Control of your yarn is everything. You have the control. It doesn't have control on you. You have control on it. So make it do what it's supposed to do. So that's the purl. And it look good. And it look pretty. Now, to do the honeycomb. The honeycomb is altering the purl and the TSS. That's all you're doing. Altering the purl and the TSS. And then the next row, you're going to do the same, but the opposite of the first row. And then you're going to take the 2 rows, and which is 2 and 3, row 2 and 3, because number 1 is foundation. So you're going to take row 2 and row 3 and alternate, and it's going to be like a repetitious pattern for honeycomb. So again, don't touch the border. Leave it alone. It's not bothering you. Leave it alone. So that is going to be exactly what it is. Leave it alone. I'm going to start off with the purl. So I'm going to put my hook in front, go into that next vertical post, and then yarn over and pull through. Once I do that, that's your purl. So you have the TSS and the purl. Actually, leave the border alone. I'm not even going to name it. Now the next one is the TSS, simple stitch. Go into that regular post, regular the regular way. Yarn over, pull up a stitch. That's it. Pull up a loop. Now we're going to do the purl. Now we're going to do TSS. And that's all you're going to do is go back and forth, back and forth. If you're still uncomfortable with doing the purl, rewind this and go back a little bit and just keep practicing until you get it. If you're still having a hard time, you can contact one of us, one of the admins. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so that was the purl. This is TSS. TSS, now the purl. If you're having a hard time getting in, that means you it's not loose enough. Maybe you need to loosen up your tension, and then you should be able to get into the stitch. The border, the end border, do not bother with it. It's not going to be either one of the stitches. It's going to be just a border stitch. Alright, it's the end border. Don't do anything else with it. Yarn over, pull through that one. Now we're going to continue. Yarn over, pull through two, all the way till you finish doing that forward pass until you get to the beginning. So that was row 2 of the honeycomb. Now we're going to go into row 3, which is going to be a tad bit different. Same altering back and forth, but being that we started off with the TSS, no, we started off with the purl. We're going to start with the TSS this time. So you can look at it and you can tell what's a purl and what's a TSS. The reason is, if you look at your stitches, you notice that the purl is short, TSS is long. Purl is short, TSS is long. So when you look at all of your stitches, if you had to go somewhere, come back to it, you know which one is purl, which one is TSS. Purl, TSS, purl. So that's how you know how to get back on track. Border, leave it alone, don't touch it. We're going to start with the TSS stitch for where the purl was in the last round. Now we're going to do purl. Now TSS. Now purl. TSS, purl. TSS, purl. TSS. And now we're at the border stitch. Don't do any stitch with that except for the border stitch. Go in, come out, yarn over, pull through one, yarn over, pull through both. I'm going to do 2 more rows and then we're going to be done. This is so that you can see how the honeycomb stitch comes out, because you really can't tell on the first 2 stitches. It's the more you go, you'll start seeing the formation of the purl. But you have to keep going. You can't just say, oh, it's not coming out right. So the border stitch, leave it alone, don't touch it. It didn't bother you, so you don't bother it. Now we did the purl, the TSS, the last stitch, so now we're going to do the purl. Go in. Now TSS. Purl. TSS. Purl. TSS. Purl. as you can see, after each, my finger, especially after each purl, my finger goes like this. And that's because I'm pulling the tension. The tension. Just making sure all of the pearls that have this loop in the front has the same consistency. Now, your border. So your border is always that, not your current row, because you don't have anything at the current row. You need to make it for the current row. You're going down to that last row. So I noticed that some people was making a mistake with that. That could be why your border is not straight. Also, to make it straight, you need to make sure you're going into both loops at the end. If you can't see the lip so you can kiss, that's a problem. You don't want just one. It's gonna look like a mess, and it's gonna have like strings hanging on the side, like loops and stuff. So you want your border to be nice and straight. So when you pull out the loop, yarn over, pull through that one. Now, like I said, I hold on to it, then I go yarn over and pull through two. So when I go through the two and I'm holding on to this, it does not tighten, and it will be easier to go into the border stitch one more time. Okay, and there we go. All the way to the end. Oh my goodness, just dropped everything. So you should be able to start seeing your honeycomb stitch. It makes me hungry. I want some honeycomb cereal. Yeah, so you should start seeing it, and when you start seeing it, just say, "Yay me! I'm so happy." Give yourself a clap, a hug, or whatever, because you did it. You finished this. You good to go, girls. And that's basically it. TSS, Purl, Honeycomb. That's it. I'm going to do the other stitches. I will talk to you guys in a few. Yeah, so the honeycomb stitch is something maybe you could do on the side. You could do your pocket with it. Whatever you want. Just make it pretty. Consistency is key, as well as texture.